And gentlemen, good day everyone, and welcome to the VIP Shop Holdings Limited fourth quarter and full year 2024 earnings conference call. At this time, I'd like to turn the call to Ms. Jessie Zheng, VIP Shop's Head of Investor Relations. Please proceed.
Thank you, Operator. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining VIP Shop's fourth quarter and full year 2024 earnings conference call. With us today are Eric Shen, our co-founder, chairman, and CEO, and Mark Wang, our CFO. Before management begins their prepared remarks, I would like to remind you that the discussion today will contain forward-looking statements made under the safe harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties that may cause actual results to differ materially from our current expectations. Potential risks and uncertainties include, but are not limited to, those outlined in our safe harbor statements in our earnings release and public filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, which also applies to this call to the extent that any forward-looking statements may be made. Please note that certain financial measures used on this call, such as non-GAAP operating income, non-GAAP net income attributable to VIP Shop shareholders, and non-GAAP net income per ADS, are not presented in accordance with U.S. GAAP. Please refer to our earnings release for details relating to the reconciliations of our non-GAAP measures to GAAP measures. With that, I would now like to turn the call over to Mr. Eric Shen.
Good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining our fourth quarter and full year 2024 earnings conference call. We delivered a set of results well above our expectations in the fourth quarter to finish a challenging year. While consumers still spend cautiously on discretionary categories, our team has proactively driven changes to address growth priorities with a focus on retail fundamentals and strong execution. At the category level, we saw some strength in apparel, which turned into positive growth in the fourth quarter off a high base. Our team moved swiftly to include more unique off-price seasonal offerings that meet customer needs, especially in sportswear and outdoor products. For the full year, apparel categories were up 2% from the year ago, accounting for 75% of our total GMV, the highest level in our history. That helped us once again cross RMB 200 billion in total annual sales. Our non-apparel business also clearly narrowed its loss of sales in the fourth quarter, driven in part by the
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain on the line. Your conference will resume shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain on the line. Your conference will resume shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain on the line. Your conference will resume shortly.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, please continue.
Hello?
Please continue. We can hear
Hello?
you. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain on the line. Your conference will resume shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain on the line. Your conference will resume shortly. Thank you. The presenters are back online. Please continue.
Hello, operator. Can you remind us where we stopped?
You are back online. You can continue from the CEO.
From the CEO part.
Okay. Good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining our fourth quarter and full year 2024 earnings conference call. We delivered a set of results well above our expectations in the fourth quarter to finish a challenging year. While consumers still spend cautiously in discretionary categories, our team has proactively driven changes to address growth priorities with a focus on retail fundamentally and strong executions. At a category level, we saw some strength in apparel, which turned into positive growth in the fourth quarter off a high base. Our team moved swiftly to include more unique off-price seasonal offerings that meet customer needs, especially in sportswear and outdoor products. For the full year, apparel categories was up 2% from a year ago, accounting for 75% of our total GMV, the highest level in our history that helped us once again across RMB 200 billion in total annual sales. Our non-apparel business also clearly narrowed its loss of sales in the fourth quarter, driven in part by the outperformance in home appearance and digital products as we capture growth opportunities from the government trade-in program. On the customer front, Super VIP memberships extended its double-digit growth, which is a strong validation of our team's commitment to delivering a differentiated experience. In the fourth quarter, active Super VIP increased by 50% from a year ago and accounted for 51% of our online spending. On an annual basis, we had a total of 8.8 million active SVIP members who contributed 49% of our online spending last year. We are encouraged by this initial improvement after we identified key near-term actions in each area and moved with urgency. In merchandising, we are getting shaped on brand and product portfolio to stay highly relevant to customer needs. Value is on the full display through a series of operational adjustments and target incentives that help our customers shop for holidays and seasonal promotions. And we are engaging more with family shoppers with a more balanced assortment of apparel and non-apparel products to drive in sentimental growth in frequency and multi-category purchases. With these changes, we are better positioned going into 2025. Importantly, we remain very committed to our long-term strategy in discount retail for brands, and we dedicate our efforts to the long-standing factors that have been successful in driving quality growth. That includes our unique business model, a merchandising approach with no compromise on qualities and authentics, a strong focus on value that include low price and compelling deals, and the suite of the service that highlights reliability. All these are put together through a differentiated strategy. More specifically, the business highlights, we continue to invest in our merchandising capabilities to become even more reliable destinations for our customers. Following 3 years initial enhancement program, our team has been reshaped, developed new expertise, and mastered how to work in more impactful ways. We brought in over 1,500 new brands last year, including official partners with many high-profile global brands. We built deeper relationships with several hundred co-brands, secured great in-demand value for money offerings throughout the year, and managed our product portfolio and on a great level of breadth and depth. Most recently, our team has started dive deeper, categories by category, to seek opportunities by further expanding in the brand supply that we expect customers to truly feel the treasure hunting excitement. Another area of focus has been adding more unique supply to make our differentiated product offering even better and bigger. The Made for VIP line did become a meaningfully driver for more than 200 brands who have joined the program last year. We saw persistent strength in sales all year long, benefiting from quality custom and repeat orders, as well as clearly better conversions and compared to the general merchandising within the same brand categories and price range, with some brands up to 20% of their sales on our platform came from Made for VIP last year. Turning to customers, they remain largely pressured, but were willing to spend when they find the right balance of quality products and a compelling price. Our SVIP customers are clearly more resilient and have a strong response to promotions and the subsidy because the real value we provide for them. In addition, they find it enticing to get even better deals through the private sales and special offers. We are happy to see that SVIPs continue to spend much more and more frequency than the regular customer, and the vast majority of them have renewed their memberships with us. Given how fast things are changing, it is all the more important to put technology to work to drive growth and efficiency. We are made relentless efforts to optimize search and recommendations, which start to incrementally improve customer experience and conversions. In addition, we are using the last general AI model to help our team work in the more productivity way, enable them to serve brand partners and customers with greater efficiency. We have made initial attempts and applications case such as shopper guide, marketing contents, customer service, and analyze tools for brand partners. Despite ongoing uncertainty, we are confident in a long-term development of our business, given the continuity of our strategy, the merchandising strengths we are building upon, and the growth initiatives we are taking in merchandise expansion and deepened engagement with different customer cohorts. Most importantly, we have infused more flexibility into our business to compete and win in an environment where customers are focused on value. We are confident in our ability to move beyond the current situations and return to sustainable and profitable growth in the long term. At this point, let me hand over the call to our CFO, Mark Wang, to go over our financial results.
Okay. Thanks, Eric, and hello, everyone. In the first quarter, we achieved a better balance in our business. We took swift and disciplined actions to reallocate resources that maximize growth while preserving solid profitability. Top line came in better than our guidance, as our team has made every endeavor to seize growth opportunity in both apparel and non-apparel business. Leaning into categories where we know customers were trying to get ready for holidays, seasonal, or family needs. Gross margin decreased year-over-year, but remained at a decent level of 23%, reflecting our stepped-up investment in customer incentives to drive quality growth. On a full-year basis, gross margin hit an 8-year high of 23.5%, benefiting from the all-time high contribution from our apparel business. With the improved business scale and a consistent execution on operation efficiency, our bottom line held up pretty well in both absolute profit and margin in the quarter. This helped us record over 9 billion RMB in full-year non-GAAP net profit attributable to VIPShop shareholder at a solid margin of 8.3%, which was largely comparable to a year ago. As we await consumer discretionary spending to normalize over time, we believe we are on the right track to returning to healthy growth in the foreseeable future. We continue to move at pace and align our focus around merchandising, core categories, value offering, and customer impact. These growth initiatives are well supported by the strength in our profit and cash generation capability. Turning to capital allocation, in 2024, we returned a total of approximately $770 million to our shareholders through annual dividend and buyback. For 2025, as we consistently communicated, we will return no less than 75% of our full year 2024 non-GAAP net income attributable to VIPShop shareholder in a combination of annual dividend and buyback. This reinforces our commitment to shareholder value creation in the long term. Now, moving to our detailed quarterly financial highlights. Before I get started, I would like to clarify that all financial numbers presented below are in renminbi, and all the percentage changes are year-over-year change, unless otherwise noted. Total net revenues for the fourth quarter of 2024 were RMB 33.2 billion, compared with RMB 34.7 billion in the prior year period. Gross profit was RMB 7.6 billion, compared with RMB 8.2 billion in the prior year period. Gross margin was 23.0%, compared with 23.7% in the prior year period. Total operating expenses was RMB 5.1 billion, compared with RMB 4.9 billion in the prior year period. As a percentage of total net revenues, total operating expenses was 15.2%, compared with 14.0% in the prior year period. Fulfillment expenses decreased by 2.5% year-over-year to RMB 2.46 billion from RMB 2.53 billion in the prior year period. As a percentage of total net revenues, fulfillment expenses was 7.4%, compared with 7.3% in the prior year period. Marketing expenses increased by 10.3% year-over-year to RMB 930.3 million from RMB 843.2 million in the prior year period. As a percentage of total net revenues, marketing expenses was 2.8%, compared with 2.4% in the prior year period. Technology and content expenses decreased by 5.5% year-over-year to RMB 469.2 million from RMB 496.4 million in the prior year period. As a percentage of total net revenues, technology and content expenses was 1.4%, which stayed flat as compared with that in the prior year period. General and administrative expenses increased by 20.0% year-over-year to RMB 1.2 billion from RMB 1.0 billion in the prior year period. As a percentage of total net revenues, general and administrative expenses was 3.6%, compared with 2.9% in the prior year period. Income from operations was RMB 2.9 billion, compared with RMB 3.7 billion in the prior year period. Operating margin was 8.6%, compared with 10.6% in the prior year period. Non-GAAP income from operations was RMB 3.4 billion, compared with RMB 4.0 billion in the prior year period. Non-GAAP operating margins was 10.2%, compared with 11.4% in the prior year period. Net income attributable to VIPShop shareholders was RMB 2.4 billion, compared with RMB 3.0 billion in the prior year period. Net margin attributable to VIPShop shareholders was 7.4%, compared with 8.5% in the prior year period. Net income attributable to VIPShop shareholders per diluted ADS was RMB 4.69, compared with RMB 5.35 in the prior year period. Non-GAAP net income attributable to VIPShop shareholders was RMB 3.0 billion, compared with RMB 3.2 billion in the prior year period. Non-GAAP net margin attributable to VIPShop shareholders was 9.0%, compared with 9.2% in the prior year period. Non-GAAP net income attributable to VIPShop shareholders per diluted ADS was RMB 5.70, compared with RMB 5.79 in the prior year period. As of December 31, 2024, we had cash and cash equivalents and a restricted cash of RMB 27.0 billion and short-term investments of RMB 1.9 billion. Now, I will briefly walk through the highlights of our full year results. Total net revenues were RMB 108.4 billion, compared with RMB 112.9 billion in the prior year. Gross profit was RMB 25.5 billion, compared with RMB 25.7 billion in the prior year. Gross margin increased to 23.5% from 22.8% in the prior year. Income from operations increased by 0.8% year-over-year to RMB 9.2 billion from RMB 9.1 billion in the prior year. Operating margin increased to 8.5% from 8.1% in the prior year. Non-GAAP income from operations increased by 0.9% year-over-year to RMB 10.7 billion from RMB 10.6 billion in the prior year. Non-GAAP operating margin increased to 9.9% from 9.4% in the prior year. Net income attributable to VIPShop shareholders was RMB 7.7 billion, compared with RMB 8.1 billion in the prior year. Net margin attributable to VIPShop shareholder was 7.1%, compared with 7.2% in the prior year. Net income attributable to VIPShop shareholders per diluted ADS was RMB 14.35, compared with RMB 14.42 in the prior year. Non-GAAP net income attributable to VIPShop shareholders was RMB 9.0 billion, compared with RMB 9.5 billion in the prior year. Non-GAAP net margin attributable to VIPShop shareholders was 8.3%, compared with 8.4% in the prior year. Non-GAAP net income attributable to VIPShop shareholders per diluted ADS was RMB 16.75, compared with RMB 16.90 in the prior year. Looking forward to the first quarter of 2025, we expect our total net revenues to be between RMB 26.3 billion and RMB 27.6 billion, representing a year-over-year decrease of approximately 5% to 0%. Please note that this forecast reflects our current and preliminary view of the market and operational conditions, which is subject to change. With that, I would now like to open the call to Q&A.
Thank you. We will now begin the question and answer session. To ask a question, please press *11 on your telephone keypad. You will then hear an automated message advising your hand is raised. To withdraw your question, please press star 11 again. For the benefit of all participants on today's call, if you wish to ask your question to management in Chinese, please repeat your question in English right after. Please stand by while we compile the Q&A roster. We will now take our first question from the line of Thomas Chong from Jefferies. Please ask your question, Thomas.
Hi, good evening. Thanks management for taking my questions, and congratulations on a very solid set of results. My first question is about our Q1 revenue guidance. Can management comment about our year-to-date performance so far? Are we actually seeing we are more towards the low end or the high end of the guidance? And can management also comment about the recent consumer sentiment? That's my first question. And my second question is about the 2025 outlook. Yes, I think it is a bit early right now, but it would be great if management can comment about how we should think about the revenue and the margin trend throughout the rest of the year. Thank you. 谢谢管理层介绍我的提问。我第一个问题呢，还是想多问一下，就是我们 Q1 的那个收入的指引。管理层可不可以分享一下呢？我们现在看到1月份还有2月份呢，现在的情况，然后就是看到我们的 guidance 呢，我们是比较是在这个低端还是在一个高端，就是 flattish 的那个情况呢？然后再想多问一下，就是最近看到的消费者的情绪有没有看到有改善？然后第二个问题呢，还是关于2025年全年的展望，就是看从收入端还有就是 margin 端，我们可不可以分享一下呢？就是今年的趋势呢？谢谢。
好，我来回答第一个问题，就是我们看今年的1、2月份的趋势啊。今年呢，我们因为中国的过年时间不一样，所以单看1月或者单看2月就有点怪。那个错位还比较多，所以我们如果把1、2月份加总起来看，都算比较正常。那么我们其实认为，其实整体的那个就消费者的这个购物的热情跟他的购物啊，比原先稍微好一些啊，但不是这种叫大幅增加，比原来稍微好了一些。那么另外呢，就是包括因为现在时间还没到，那么比如说我们是到3月份吧。到3月底才是 Q1 结束，所以我们现在也比较难预测啊，就是说到底是在那个低位，在那个0到-5的低位还是高位，反正我们认为反正 Q1 是0到-5是没有问题。那么第二个呢，就是问全年的整体的思路啊，我们呢因为去年如果其实 GMV 增长的不好，去年全年啊，那么我们其实基本上是持平，那么包括因为退居率的增加，那么全年其实是负的。那么我们其实今年给自己的目标是整体要往正向，就 GMV 可能要正向。那么另外呢，就是我们其实总体还是稳健政策啊，就包括说生意的增长，包括我们说的利润的确保。那么整体是我们说在利润确保的基础上，尽可能的增加吧。那么比如说我们可以花更多的钱投入在用户增长上面，包括扩大销售方面。所以说总体我们2025年的总的政策也基本上是以稳健为底，然后呢就争取更大的增长。
Okay, as for Q1 revenue guidance in terms of the year-to-date trend, because of the different timing of the Spring Festival, it's not that ideal to look at a single month in January or February. If we look at January plus February to date, I think that actually our business is on track within our guidance. And when we assess consumer sentiment, we believe it's actually slightly better than expected, although still we observe still takes time to be fully back on the recovery trend. but apparently we think it's marginally better than prior quarters. And since it's still early into the quarter, and we have upcoming, promotions in March when we started to sell spring apparel, and until then, we may have a clear picture of how the quarter is going to end, whether it's lower or higher end of the guidance. But for sure, we are on track for now. As for the full year of 2025, we think everything should get back to the positive trajectory. That's what we hope, whether it's GMV or revenue. Last year, we did not that so well. GMV was just slightly up, and because of the return rate, there is still some gap between GMV and revenue. So revenue is slightly down, but we believe this year we will make every endeavor to bring the business back from in terms of every operating metric. Of course, we're going to pursue a high quality and growth strategy as we have done consistently, and we will try to make efforts to maximize our growth opportunities in terms of customer and revenue, under the condition that we will maintain a solid profitability as well. We have an opportunity to invest a portion of our profit into growth opportunities. We will do that. But overall, we will try to make sure we will maintain solid profitability and maximize our growth.
谢谢。
Thank you. We will now take our next question from the line of Alicia Yap from Citigroup. Please ask your question, Alicia.
Okay, thank you. 管理层晚上好，谢谢接受我的提问。两个小问题，一个是关于4Q 啊，我们这个超预期的这个业绩，就想再多了解一下这个关键驱动的这个因素，是不是因为我们这个营销推广这边比较有效率，还是说这边多多少少反映了一些宏观的一些改善？然后另外就4Q 里面的 GMV 我们有多少是这个跟以旧换新这个优惠有关的？我自己翻译一下。So two quick questions. First is that regarding your 4Q outperformance, just wanted to know a little bit more the drivers. So is that mainly because of your effective marketing promotion, or is that also benefiting from some improvement of the macro environment? And then second question is, in your 4Q GMV, how much of that is actually benefiting or related to the trade-in benefits? Thank you.
好，我回答一下Q4 这块的话，我们看到一方面呢，就整体的天气还是不错啊，就是说我们因为也没有这种叫太热，也没有说这种很冷，但是呢就总体保持正常趋势，所以呢对我们其实卖衣服的是有帮助的。第二方面呢，就是我们也看到消费者就是说整体的消费啊，没有像 Q3 这么悲观这么惨，所以说这也是有点帮助的。那么另外呢，就包括我们自己也做了一些动作，比如说在加强好品牌低折扣上面，我们也深入。那么另外呢，包括我们自己也做了一点点补贴啊，就是说比如说今天你们看到我们的毛利率有一点点下降，那么我们也在一些好的上面，我们也做些补贴来吸引更多的消费者来。那么所以总体我们认为也是多方因素吧， 造成我们说整体 Q4 的预期好过我们原来的那个预估啊，那 Q4 的实际那个好于这个预估。另外呢，就其实这个整个就是家电补贴对我们的整体的增长其实帮助不是很大，因为我们确实不是卖家电那个为主的企业，我们自己预估大概24年那个就 Q4 的话，如果增量的话，在小个位数的亿啊，就是大概3个亿、4个亿左右吧。那么所以说，其实对我们的这个整体的 GMV 的增长，其实没有起到决定的作用。
To your first question on Q4 turned out to be well ahead of expectations due to a few factors. First, I think it helped a little bit because we started to see consumers became a bit more active from the end of November into December when we see normalized weather conditions that helped our winter clothing sales. And also on consumer sentiment, it was not as bad as we had thought. It turned slightly better than prior quarters. And of course, we did a lot of proactive actions in terms of the merchandising portfolio and more in-demand value for money product offerings. And also we did some decent promotions and subsidies targeting our high-value customers, which brought in additional growth opportunities. And to your second question on the related category benefiting from the trading program, it did help a little bit because we managed to narrow the loss of sales in our non-apparel business. But in terms of the absolute GMV, it's still not that meaningful. It's around 300 to 400 million in terms of incremental GMV from home appliances and the digital products in Q4.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll take question from the line of Wei Xiong from UBS. Please ask your question, Wei.
好的，谢谢管理层接受我的提问，也恭喜这个季度非常强劲的业绩。我的问题是关于咱们的毛利的，因为刚才也谈到，其实今年整体的毛利趋势非常不错。那如果展望一下25年的话，我们认为还有没有进一步提升的空间？那如果有的话，这个背后的驱动力是来自于比如说更高的服饰占比啊，还是优化用户补贴等等。然后同时我也想追问一下，咱们刚才提到的就是25年的这个净利率的目标。在咱们追求这个 GMV 跟收入转正的基础上，我们对于25年的这个净利润目前是希望尽量维持，比方说同比平稳吗？还是也追求进一步提高的空间？那另外咱们对于长期稳态的这个利润率的最新的判断是怎么样的？那我也自己翻译一下。Thank you, management, for taking my question. First, I want to ask about the gross margin trend in 2025. Are we seeing further room to improve year on year on the basis of very good results of full year 24? If there is, what are the drivers behind? And also just to follow up on the net profit margin for 2025, given that we are trying to pursue the goal of GMV and revenue turning positive as soon as possible, are we expecting stable net margin year on year, or are we seeing further room to improve? And also, what's our latest judgment on the long-term sustainable net margin level for the company? Thank you.
我们准备那个25年的整体的那个毛利啊，那么我们理论上也不再提升，就是说，因为我们最近还在琢磨着要，比如说尽量释放给更多那个好的合作伙伴，给他们更好的条件，或者有些比如说我们会适当让点扣点，或者做一些销售的对赌，那么如果做成了，我们会释放一些红利给他们。所以说我们其实觉得在毛利方面我们不再增加，那么尽量有可能会适当会做一些 让利，那么来换一些业绩的增长。那么但是呢，我们在总体的净利把握上面，我们认为说净利率啊，那么应该是跟去年持平吧。那么我们认为也有把握做得到。那么包括那个就全年25年的净利额是不是能增加更多，其实取决于我的业绩增长。那么如果业绩增长的比较多，那可能我们的别的费用就摊下来比较多，不摊下来就那个我们讲的能有更多盈利。所以总体来讲呢，就是说我们基本能争取就是我们说的25年的净利率跟去年持平吧。
In terms of the margin trend, GP margin, remember we hit a 8-year high GP margin of 23.5% in 2024. So we actually think that's a very good level, and we can afford to invest a portion of the gross profit, for example, to our brand partners to incentivize them to bring in more merchandising and more deep discount inventory so that we can grow together. So we are thinking about, prudently reviewing the take rate levels with brand partners and allow them to have more opportunities for growing the business on our platform, instead of just maintaining a fixed, GP margin for the platform. And turning to NP margin, we have a pretty good command of managing the cost and the expense items. So we think in terms of the NP margin, we are pretty confident we can achieve a flattish level as compared to the past 2 years. And in terms of the profit dollars, we try to grow our profit dollars as much as we can. If we can, grow into a better scale and apparently that will take a lot of pressure on the operating deleverage, and then we can achieve a greater NP margin as well as a much better profit dollar level. So in terms of the margin profile, we have no concern on that actually. We have pretty good command of the both GP margin and NP margin.
Very clear. Thank you, management.
Thank you. Next question comes from the line of Jialong Shi from Nomura. Please go ahead, Jialong.
好的，谢谢沈亚总 Mark 和 Jessie 晚上好，非常感谢接受我的这个提问。我这里就是想问2个问题。第一个问题呢，就是最近就是这段时间的话，就是这种 AI 好也是一个就是说行业里面就是很多这个公司也好，包括投资人也好，大家都很关注的一个趋势。所以我想借这个机会请教一下，就是沈亚总，就是在咱们的这个唯品会的这个业务或者这个整个的这个业务链条里面，您觉得有没有机会未来就是说可以利用 AI 给我们的这个业务就是说能够带来一些突破，这个突破可能是这个效率的提升，或者是这个成本的下降。我不知道你能不能跟我们分享一下，就是您的这样一个观察。然后第二个问题呢，就是想问一下，就是那个 Super VIP member， 就是他们的在我们这边消费的这个 ARPU 和这个消费的这个频次，在第4季度是一个什么样的一个趋势？我自己翻译一下。So I have 2 questions. First question is about generative AI. So the AI has become a popular trend these days. So just wondering if there are any, if there are any areas in VIPS business where AI may help either improve profitability or reduce the costs. Just wonder if management can provide some colors. And the second question is wondering what is the trend for ARPU and the shopping frequency of Super VIP members. Thank you.
那个我们其实在那个 AI 的应用上面，我们也是积极投入啊。那么包括我们，但是呢，我们其实没有像做这种公用的给那个 C 端用户用的。那么但是呢，在我们自己的像电商的购物里面，比如说我们在个性化，那么包括问答，包括推荐，好多方面啊，那个我们其实在那个运用。那么包括我们最近也在拿新的那个 DS 来分析，就是说我们其实这么多的这种客服对话，那么我们期望是像这种的话，跟原先的那些模型会有一些进步，那么等等啊，包括我们最近也在研究这个商家的分析工具，那么包括怎么样在唯品会上备更好的货品，那么怎么样获得更好的销售，包括他要做一些什么动作，比如说更多的降价，更多的 SKU 等等啊。所以说我们其实认为这个 AI 以后在我们自己内部的电商应用里面，那么我们认为其实应用很广泛，而且呢确实能大大的提升效率啊。那么但是呢在真正在用户使用方面，比如说我们也有尝试做这种用户的问答，那么但是呢这目前来讲呢，就是可能这个效果还算一般，所以我们其实还在迭代，就包括用户今天问什么，我们给他推荐什么东西确实比较好的，不用他花很多时间在里面。那么这些呢，我们认为以后都会是一些变化，就是说包括用户的那个整体的购物的那个整体的决策各方面，其实我们认为都是会有很大的变化。那我们认为呢，虽然我们不是说前端做 to C 这种应用的公司，但是我们在购物里面呢，我们要做好，不要掉队。那么第二个你是问那个关于 SVIP 啊，就 SVIP 呢，总体我们如果看全年的话，我们的总体的 up 是掉的，是跌的，因为什么？我们今年的新的 SVIP 增长比较多嘛。那么我们也看，就是说，比如说过去2年一直是 SVIP 的用户，我们看到整体的 up 是微跌，所以说理论上呢，我们倒不担心整个 SVIP 的那个客户的最近的质量问题，因为我们是要求是那个数量跟质量都要同步进步，所以说我们刚刚问的就 SVIP 就这个点，对吧？就是这个是对这个的回答，
In terms of the AI application, actually internally we are moving very fast to invest into AI applications, including personalization, Q&A generation, and product recommendation, etc. On a number of application cases. Specifically, actually, we are deploying a DeepSeek internally as well. The immediate focus is, of course, to try to find opportunities to improve productivity as well as efficiency. For example, on customer service, we're trying to see whether DeepSeek can be integrated in our self-developed model to improve the analysis and the reasoning of the many dialogues that are taking place on customer service every day. We're trying to find if there is any area of improvement. And to brand partners, we are also launching new analytical tools to try to help them optimize their merchandising portfolio to promote their sales campaigns, to see whether what kind of actions they should take to maximize business opportunities on our platform. So although we are not rolling out any to-C application publicly, but we are deploying AI and the latest Gen AI models into our internal business cases on a broad basis. And on the customer front, we are also trying to see whether we can leverage the latest Gen AI model to improve the generation of Q&A. And we are constantly upgrading the model and try to make our recommendation to customers even better and more precisely and more to their needs. So we are using AI applications in our internal business cases, and we are tracking the developments, and we look to leverage AI on a constant basis to find opportunities to drive both growth and efficiency. To your second question on SVIP customer, last year, in terms of annual ARPU, we did see a slight decline but that's more of a dilutive impact from 16% increase in the annual active Super VIP customers. And it normally takes some time for a new SVIP member to ramp up his spending. And if we look at the hardcore 2-year customer cohort of our SVIP customer base, actually the ARPU remains very resilient. Only see a slight drop in terms of annual ARPU. So we think that the overall SVIP customer base is still very healthy, and we look to expand the SVIP membership continuously and protect the overall health of the consumer group.
All right, thank you. Due to time constraints, that concludes today's question and answer session. At this time, I'll turn the conference back to Jessie for any closing remarks.
Thank you for taking the time to join us today. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact our IR team. We look forward to speaking with you next quarter.
Thank you for your participation in today's conference. This does conclude the program. You may now disconnect.